Tonight, joining us now with reaction, the author of the New York Times best-selling book, Treason, former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor, Newt Gingrich. Mr. Speaker, good to see you. First, about the recount. Do you really believe Jill Stein, with less than 1%, is doing this all on her own? Because it's kind of conspiracy week. Hillary's thinking that the Russians hacked into Wisconsin's voting machines. So can't we say that I think that Hillary probably is prompting, or her people are prompting Jill Stein? That seem plausible?
Look, well, first of all, you covered an amazing amount of ground in that opening report. I want to commend you. And you used video beautifully to get people to understand you're simply giving them what actually happened, not your opinion, but they get to see for themselves. I thought it was brilliantly done. I think the recount mania is one more example of the collapse of the Democratic Party as a realistic institution. Next, we're going to be told that not only were the Russians engaged, but that there were Martians who were secretly voting in a variety of hamlets, and they were all right-wing Martians.
Yeah.
And that,
and
therefore, you know, we have to have a whole new election.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. What you're watching is and you're seeing this also with Keith Ellison running for Democratic National Committee chairman. I mean, you're seeing the sort of nutty wing of the Democratic Party begin to take over. And what Hillary said on election night was the right thing to say. I mean, if there was a realistic chance that they could turn 3 states and therefore turn the election, you could say, all right, I get it. There's not. I mean, nobody believes they're going to turn Pennsylvania, period. If you don't turn Pennsylvania, nothing matters. They're probably impossible to turn Wisconsin. It's too big a vote. It's too honest a state. Even the White House has conceded the Russians weren't there. The Martians weren't there. I mean, none of these explanations work. And then you've got Michigan. The odds against them turning all 3 of those states, which is what they'd have to do, are probably 1 trillion to 1. So you begin to get into the nuttiness phase.
Well, we're leaving the phase of coloring books.
A large enough number that it's irrational.
We're leaving the phase. Look, it's been a shock phase. Play-Doh, coloring books, aromatherapy, pet therapy, hot cocoa served to poor little students by their professors. So I guess the next stage is going to be the radical left stage, which is their anger. And so don't they really, there's a motive here to delegitimize Donald Trump. There's a play here. Don't you think it's that?
But yeah, of course. But the problem they've got is they're doing it so badly, they're going to delegitimize themselves. They're going to end up looking silly. I mean, you know, and I think we should just say, you know, all of the nutcakes who want to gather and be part of the Democratic Party should feel very free to do so. Just don't ask the rest of us to take you seriously. But it's perfect if it's therapy for you to get together and whine and whimper and chant anti-Trump, anti-Trump. Fine, America's a free country. You're allowed to be weird.
You are. It's free will. Absolutely. All right, let me move on. This has become a huge issue. I find myself agreeing with you, Mike Huckabee, Kellyanne, and others that I've talked to. And I was out and about over the weekend. I was off rarely for 5 straight days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I talked to a lot of people. And people are just shocked at the idea about 2 things, that Donald Trump made comments that he doesn't want to go after Hillary necessarily, and 2, that he might pick Mitt Romney to be his Secretary of State. I just played the comments of Mitt Romney. I want to get your take on why you think it would be a bad idea.
Well, let me just say, I think that if the president-elect really for some reason wants Romney, he simply needs to understand in advance that there is an enormous base that wanted to drain the swamp, and they see Romney as the swamp. They will not understand. I mean, he either has to decide he's willing to accept a very large part of his base being totally upset and feeling betrayed and alienated, or he's got to figure out a pretty good explanation. I can't quite imagine the introductory speech where President-elect Trump explains why Mitt Romney makes any sense as Secretary of State. So I think it's an interesting situation. I don't know why he's letting it drag out the way it is. I gather they're going to meet again tomorrow. And it is his prerogative as the president-elect to pick who he wants. But he should understand that folks who are speaking out, whether that's Mike Huckabee or you or Kellyanne Conway or me, we're really speaking out on behalf of an amazing number of people who come up to us and tell us that they, or who email us and just say they cannot understand. And I think it would be a huge mistake to betray that base on behalf of somebody who, this is not like team of rivals. There was nobody in Lincoln's cabinet who was a bitter, unending opponent all the way through the general election. No one.
Right.
So this is a totally phony comparison.
I think the things that he said,
that it will be a significant mistake.
He supported Rubio in Florida, Kasich in Ohio, Admiral Mullins in Utah, said he was a racist, misogynist, fraud, huckster, liar, everything horrible you can say. Look, and I say this as somebody who thinks that in 2012, if Romney won, he would have been a much better president, obviously, than Obama. I believed he would have been. This doesn't work on any level. I just don't see it. And I think he's setting himself up for trouble down the road. But as you said, I guess it's going to be his decision. But I would, not that anyone ever listens to me, Mr. Speaker, but I would strongly urge no on that. And there's other qualified people. General Petraeus was there today. I happen to be a big supporter of Rudy for that position, but, you know, they haven't decided, and we'll see which way it goes.
Look, well, let me just join you in that for a second. Rudy Giuliani is the most effective turnaround artist to be a mayor in the United States in my lifetime. He is a straight shooter. He actually has had business dealings in 80 different countries. He understands the world. And anybody who's watched him knows you wouldn't get anybody tougher, both in reforming the State Department and in speaking to the world on behalf of America. And I really do hope that they decide in the end that Rudy is the right guy to be Secretary of State. I think he would do a terrific job.
All right.